Hey everybody, John Skiba here from the Consumer Warrior YouTube channel, and in this video I'm going to talk about the 5 different types of debt that are out there and which ones you should pay first if you find yourself in a tight situation. But if this is your first time here to my YouTube channel, please go ahead, click subscribe, check on that little bell, that way you'll be notified each and every week as I put out new videos that'll help you deal with serious debt problems. All right, let's talk about types of debt. You know, if you find yourself in a tough financial situation and you're not able to pay all your creditors, it's important to understand that creditors are not all created equally, not by a long shot. They all have different powers, different abilities. And so I wanted to talk about if you do find yourself in a tight financial situation and you're not able to pay all of your debts, I want to talk about kind of a priority list that you need to put in your mind as far as which debts are most important to stay on top of and which other ones, they're important but maybe not quite as important. And I kind of frame all of this with what I call the pain test. How much pain can a particular creditor inflict on you? The more pain that they can inflict on you, the more you need to look at making sure that they get paid rather than other types of creditors. So the first type, and I'm going to say at the very top of the list, the ones you need to focus on that can cause you the most pain are debts that fall into the area of taxes, child support, and spousal support. So taxes, obviously, you know, the government. They always say they follow the golden rule. They have all the gold, so they made all the rules, and the rules generally don't apply to the IRS, to the state. Those types of entities, if you owe back taxes, they can garnish your pay without even suing you. They can lien your property. They can cause all types of issues. So first, you know, above everything, you need to make sure that the taxes are being properly withheld from your paycheck, or if you're self-employed, that you're paying those quarterly taxes. Taxes can cause huge problems, not only just with day-to-day cash flow type things, but they can cause problems and they can take things from you and inflict a lot of pain. Right along with those are things like child support and spousal support. If you're not paying your child support, if you're not paying alimony, spousal support, those types of debts, you can actually go to jail, just like again with taxes. If you're not paying those debts, if you're not staying on top of them, you could end up getting yourself in criminal liability, and it can cause a lot of problems with obviously the family court, family relationships, all those types of things. So those are at the top of my list, monies that are owed to the government and monies that are owed through what we call in bankruptcy a domestic support obligation, like child support, alimony, spousal support, those types of things. Those are definitely at the top of the list of things you need to pay first if you find yourself in a difficult situation. Now, second on the list is you need to pay secured debt. And what I mean by secured debt, these are debts that have collateral attached to them, like car loans, home loans, something where if you don't pay the debt, they can foreclose or repossess or take the collateral back. These debts, that's why they have collateral, that's why they have this, what we call a security interest, is because they want to be protected in the event that you can't pay. So if you're in a situation, again, where the money's tight, one of the debts you need to focus on are those where they can actually take things from you immediately, like car loans, home loans. You need to stay on top of those, and if you can't pay them, reach out to those creditors and try to put something together, let them know what's going on, and over-communicate with them. The main thing I see where people fall into problems with those types of debts is they don't communicate at all, and then they end up with their car repossessed or their home into foreclosure. Make sure that you communicate with them. Often they will have programs or at least things that they can offer to help get those loans in a better situation than maybe they are right now. The third one is, they're not really debts, but just month-to-month bills, but like rent, utilities. Dave Ramsey calls these like the 4 walls. You know, focus on, if money's tight and you can't pay everything, focus on the 4 walls of your home. Make sure that the power's on. Make sure that the water's, you know, running. Make sure you can pay your rent, that you have a place to live. Focus on those, because if you don't, again, if it's like rent, they can actually start a eviction proceeding, and you may find yourself with no power, no water, and life's going to be really, really difficult for you and your family if you're not having those types of things taken care of. The next one, fourth on the list, is credit cards. Now, a lot of people might be surprised to hear that credit cards is so far down on the list, because credit cards tend to be the most annoying and the most aggressive once you fall behind. You know, they're blowing up your phone all day long. You're getting all these calls. They may eventually sue you. But the reason why they're being so aggressive and so loud and noisy is because, at least initially, if you're not paying your credit cards, that's really all they can do. They're unsecured debts. There's no collateral, there's no property they can take if you're not paying your credit cards. They can damage your credit score, to be sure, but they can't really do anything. They can't take anything away from you unless they file a lawsuit against you and get a judgment, and then they can garnish your wages and your bank account. But I can tell you, with most credit cards, that's a minimum of 6 to 12 months away from the time that you stop paying on them, and for most of them, it's really years before any type of action takes place. So while they are damaging credit, they can't take anything from you. They're noisy. They can be hard to ignore, and that's the way that it's intended. They're trying to be so annoying and create some anxiety and fear even in you that you want to make those payments because they know that there's not really anything else they can do. Now, the fifth category is, and right down at the bottom, and this one's going to be a little heartless. These are personal loans. These are loans owed to family and friends. And obviously, you want to keep those relationships good, and there could be some pain from not paying those, but they can't really generally take anything from you unless they have a security interest, like I said, like if they have a lien on a car or something like that, then they can. But those are ones, hopefully, that you can communicate with, work something out, let them know your situation, and they tend to be a little more forgiving than even the credit card companies, secured loans, rent, all those types of things. So I hope that that's helpful in kind of at least organizing it a bit in your mind as far as when things are getting really tight and you find yourself in a really tough situation. It's good to kind of go through that checklist and say, look, you know what, I know I've got to pay my taxes. I know I got to pay the child support. I got to pay the spousal support. Next thing, secured debt. I got to make that house payment or the car payments or whatever type of collateral you have attached to it, the boat payment, the motorcycle payment, whatever it is. Then the next one, rent, utilities, those 4 walls Dave Ramsey talks about. Make sure that you're covering those, that you have a place to live, that you have the power's on, the water's running, those types of things. Then we get down to your general, what we call unsecured debts, your credit cards, and then the family personal loans. So hopefully that's helpful as you're kind of working through this. My name again is John Skiba. I'm a bankruptcy attorney in the state of Arizona. If you're dealing with debt problems, whether it be debt collection lawsuits or you're contemplating bankruptcy, check out my information below. I do a free consultation. I'm happy to talk with you and kind of go over what the situation is and help put a plan together to deal with the debt problem once and for all. Thanks for watching today.